Hi. All right. Welcome back. This is the Flex and Nerd podcast. As you know, we haven't uploaded in a while. So, hi. If you're new here, welcome. If all 8 subscribers of you remember who we are. My name is Zach. My co-host Corey isn't here. It's that's part of the reason why we haven't uploaded in a while. We haven't been able to coordinate a schedule. But going forward, I would like to do some NFL content, some NFL videos. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do the division winners. We're going to do MVP. We're going to do Rookie of the Year, and we're going to predict some of the playoffs, not the whole matchups, but who we think is going to go to the playoffs and the wild card, who we think is going to make the Super Bowl. So I'm happy to have you with me today. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter video if I can keep my talking under. And maybe we'll post like a video once a week, maybe doing like a short NFL update. I've got a roommate here with me who might want to jump in and do like the Packers. He's a big Packers fan. I'm a Bears fan, so biases might be included, but we're gonna do maybe a video a week and do like a short update on what we think, like, or recapping the week, our favorite games, things like that. But yeah, hopefully I can be consistent, and maybe we'll post some shorts and stuff, give you a little bit of a sneak peek. If you hear some noises, I am a father of two, and I have a cat, and she's going crazy. So let's just get started. We'll start with the NFC because that's my favorite conference, and then we'll jump over to AFC. So we'll go division by division, who I think is going to win, and then we'll do who I think the wild card teams are, and then we'll do Super Bowl champ, and we'll wrap it up. So I'm gonna start. I did it. We'll start with the North, I guess, because that's my division, and we'll go North, East, South, West. Sound good? Okay. So first, we're going to do the NFC North. That's the my division with the Bears. I think that Green Bay maintains their momentum and ends up winning the division. I think Chicago finishes second. I think adding Caleb is going to be huge. No biases intended, but I genuinely think it's going to change the offense. We had last year, we won like 7 games, and we only had the number 1 overall pick because it was traded to us, not because we were horrible. And I think some people miss that. But every 1-1 quarterback in the last decade has improved their team's wins by at minimum 4 games. So if Caleb can hold that line, we improve to an 11-win team, and that's good enough to at least finish second in the division and potentially a wild card. We'll talk about that towards the end. But I think Chicago's going to be greatly improved offensively. I don't necessarily trust Eberflus as the head coach. I'm trying to withhold judgment for another year with a new quarterback in place. He did give up calling the offense towards the end of the season and focused mostly on his defensive duties. And after the Montez Sweat trade, we ended up having a top 10 defense. And so I genuinely think that the improvement is going to be there. And I think that as long as we hold that defensive momentum, the offense is going to come along. And I think we are a double-digit win team for sure. For some reason, I see a lot of projections at 9 wins, at 8 wins. I just don't see how that's realistic with the roster we've put together. I think the offensive line is probably still a little weak, but we have like Darnell Wright is a great right tackle. We have a couple good pieces on the line, so I really think Chicago's going to be really good. And like I said, I don't think we're going to be better than Green Bay. I would be shocked if we're better than Green Bay. Of course, Green Bay's got a little Jekyll and Hyde thing going on, going back to the team I have winning the division. I think Green Bay, the first half of the year was like an okay team. They weren't great. Their second half of the year was incredible. Their playoff run was really well done and really good. So especially dominating the Cowboys like that. Was awesome and giving the 49ers everything they wanted. I think if they can carry that second half momentum, which I'm projecting and thinking they will, I think they end up winning the division. Losing A.J. Dillon is a big loss. Running backs, I don't want to say are a dime a dozen, but maybe you can find some production from a guy to go along with Josh Jacobs. And if they have a really solid running game, I think Jordan Love's going to be awesome again, and they're going to win the division. I think Detroit takes the biggest step back from last year. I think that what's going to happen is they were super aggressive in the playoffs, and it cost them some points here and there, especially against the 49ers in that NFC Championship game. And I think that realistically what's going to happen is instead of being aggressive like they were last year, they do the opposite, kind of like Brandon Staley did a couple years ago with the Chargers, where they were super aggressive, and that's what helped them win a lot of games the season before. And they're going to be less aggressive and play more conservatively, and that's actually going to cost them wins. So we'll see if that holds up, but that's my prediction. I think Detroit takes a big step back. And Minnesota, with all their injuries, I think they finish last in the division. So we'll go from the NFC North to the NFC East. This is where I have the biggest change of all the divisions. Every year for the last 15 years, we've had a worst to first team. I think that happens in this division. I think that the worst team in the division last year was Washington. I think they turn around and win the division this year. I think adding Jaden Daniels is going to be awesome for their offense. They're going to be explosive. They had a decent defense last year. I think it's going to be improved. I know they got rid of Sweat and the other defensive, was it Allen? They lost another defensive lineman. I can't remember off the top of my head. Again, I'm restarting this after a couple years off, so forgive me if I'm out of my groove a little bit. But I think Washington is going to shock everybody and win that division, mostly on the strength of Dallas and Philly taking steps backwards. I think Washington is going to win the division, not by default, but by having lost the least and brought back stuff, if that makes sense. I have Dallas finishing second in the division. I think they're going to take a little bit of a step backwards from their dominance in the regular season last year. They're still going to be very good. I think Dallas is always good in the regular season. I just feel like messing around with CeeDee Lamb this offseason, not signing Dak to an extension. Micah Parsons is wanting a new deal. I think that's going to be some. Kevin Wilde says it if you watch First Things First. He talks about the vibes, and I think the vibes in Dallas are going to be a little bit off. And I think they're going to take a step back, and that's going to cause Washington to win the division. Philly, I think, takes the biggest step back from last year in that division. I think losing Jason Kelce is going to be more important than people realize. He called all the protections. He would call out all the blitzers. He would get all his linemen lined up, and Jalen didn't have to worry about any of that stuff, which is a huge thing off of his plate, but now it adds one for this season. And I think they're going to be I think they're going to carry on from their poor play last year, and they're not going to have a great year. And obviously, I have New York finishing last. I think Daniel Jones is terrible. Malik Neighbors could be really fun to watch in New York. So if you are from New York or like that team, he could be really fun to watch, but I just don't think the team is very good. So we go from the NFC East to the NFC South. I have Atlanta winning the division. I think Kirk Cousins is a massive upgrade over who was the guy from Cincinnati last year? Can't remember his name. That's how good he was in Atlanta. I think he's going to take more advantage of the weapons they have. Bijan and Kyle Pitts and Drake London are going to look great. They've got DJ Moore from my team. He's going to be a great slot option there for them. And I think Kirk Cousins, he's going to do what he always does. They're going to win 9-10 games, which is going to be good enough to win that division. He's going to play surprisingly, he's going to play really well, but the team's only going to win less games than his numbers would suggest they win. And I think that division's really weak. So I think Atlanta is the best team. They've improved the most just by signing Kirk Cousins. If he's coming up healthy off his Achilles injury, obviously. And I think even Michael Penix, I think even Michael Penix could probably win that division based on the strength of the team around him. I think that they would be okay even if Penix has to play some games. I have Tampa and Baker Mayfield coming in second in that division. I think they're the second best team. I wouldn't be shocked if they make the playoffs. I don't have them in, spoiler alert, I don't have them in the wild card, but I think they'll be fighting for that wild card spot for sure. Carolina, I have them improving to third place in the division. They haven't done enough around Bryce to give me any more confidence in them that they'll be some worst to first team. I think Bryce showed some flashes last year. I think he had awful protection and no weapons. They got a weapon named Xavier Legette. I think they signed another receiver. I think that Carolina's going to be better, but not by much. I think we'll see something out of Bryce that might make him look like an NFL starter, whereas last year he was pretty bad. I just don't believe in the Saints. I think Derek Carr is horrible. If they're talking about really starting Spencer Rattler on some things I've heard, so I just don't think the Saints are going to be very good. I think they're going to finish last in that division. Finally, we've got the NFC West. So I have the Niners winning that division. It's probably not a shock to too many people. I think the 49ers still have the best roster in the league. A lot of this does hinge on if Trent Williams plays for them. If Trent Williams is sitting, I think they might end up coming in second in that division to the Rams. I'm projecting and assuming he's going to play and not retire or not sit out the season. He's done it before, so I'm not going to bet all my money on it, but my projection is he ends up playing for them. I think they're good enough to go win that division and challenge for the NFC again this year. They're just so good. I think Brock Purdy, I'm a little torn on Brock Purdy. He's been playing really well the last few years, but my concern is that he's been talking this offseason how he wants to prove improve. Prove was the right word. Prove his doubters wrong and expand his offensive game, throwing the ball down the field more and things like that. I just don't know if that's going to actually hurt more than it helps. We'll see. I still think they win the division, but there could be something there. I have the Rams finishing second. I think Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, they've got a lot of weapons there. The defense might be a little suspect, but I do have them finishing second in the division. Let's go to our third, I think, is Seattle. I don't really know a whole lot about Seattle. I'm not gonna lie. I know they got DK and Geno and Tyler Lockett's still there, and Jackson Smith in Jigba is really good. I think they have that running back is really good too. I just don't feel like it has been enough improvement or enough changes for them to beat the Rams or the Niners. They're going to be a good team. They probably don't win double digits, but they're going to win a lot of games, and they're going to be in a lot of games. I just feel like they're the third best team in that division. I have Arizona finishing fourth. I think Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr. will be fun to watch, but that defense is just not inspiring a lot of confidence. And I think that it's just going to be kind of another regular year for the Cardinals. They're not going to be awful. I don't think they're the worst team in the NFL, but I just don't see them being super competitive in that division, at least in my opinion. Next up, we got our wild card. So I have Chicago in the wild card. I think that realistically, the NFC North is the best division in football, or at least it was going to be if Minnesota didn't have all those injuries, losing J.J. McCarthy, and I think they lost a receiver too, didn't they? So I think that I think the NFC North, still top to bottom, is probably the best team in the division, because I think even Minnesota, like, being bad isn't worse than, like, say, the Giants or something. So I think the NFC North is super competitive. I think Chicago's going to be much improved. Not much improved, but the offense is going to be much improved and more consistent from last year. And I think we get that first wild card spot. My second wild card spot goes to Dallas. I think that even though I don't have them winning the division, they're still going to be a really good team, and they take the second wild card spot. And I have the Rams. I had Detroit, but I crossed them off and I put the Rams. I think the Rams end up taking that third and final wild card spot. Now to the AFC. We'll do the same thing. We'll go northeast, southwest. The AFC North actually is probably the best division of football. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh are always really good every year, and Cleveland's got an incredible defense. It's their offense I don't trust, but we'll get there. So winning the division, I have Baltimore. If Lamar Jackson plays, they win 75% of their games. I think he's going to be fine. I think there's going to be an improvement even from last year on his MVP season, which honestly was a weak MVP, if we're honest. But I think he's going to be much improved, and not much improved, but I think he's going to continue and have another great year. Baltimore wins the division. I have Cincinnati in second. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh could flip, and it wouldn't shock me. Cincinnati and Jamar Chase having their contract struggles could really be a problem if he decides not to play, or if it's a distraction that really could hurt them. But I have Jamar Chase playing, and I have them finishing in second. Pittsburgh with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. They have Russell Wilson as a starter. Who knows if it stays that way all season? I know it's hard to bet against Mike Tomlin. He's never under 500, but I just don't think that they're good enough to beat the top two teams. They could have a great season. They could catch a wild card spot, but I just don't have them in the top two in the division. Finally, I have Cleveland. I think that Deshaun Watson has regressed massively. His time away from football, the off-field stuff, has made him. He's no longer the guy he was in 2020 when they traded for him. I just feel like he is majorly fallen back. So I have them finishing in third. The defense could be really good, and Myles Garrett is incredible, but I just don't think the team is very good. North, we go to AFC East. I have Buffalo winning the division. I know that's not like shocking or groundbreaking to anybody. I just think they're the best team. They have the best quarterback and the best defense. I think they win the division, no problem. I have Miami in the 2 slot, good enough to win the division, just could win the division, but I feel like they're going to finish second. Teams played really well against them towards the end of the year. They have to get off to a hot start and maintain. Otherwise, that second half of the year could be really tough with the cold weather games and stuff. But I love Miami in the second slot. I think the Jets are going to finish third. A lot of people have them winning the division. Some people have them winning the AFC overall. I don't see that as realistic. I think Aaron Rodgers, his last time we saw him play real football was an average quarterback, top 15, top 20-ish guy, but he's not the MVP he was his second to last year in Green Bay. I think the time away from football and the off-field distractions could really hinder him, but the other side of the coin is he comes in mad and he plays like an MVP and he's awesome. And that would be awesome if it's true. I think that would be really fun for the league if it's true. I just don't see it happening. Outside of Garrett Wilson, I'm not well versed on the Jets, but I don't think they have a lot of playmakers. Brees Hall could be really good, and they drafted a huge running back, so to give some load off of his shoulders. But I genuinely think that the Jets are going to be okay, around 500, maybe below. That offensive line on paper, great, but they're all old names. They're all often injured guys, and if they're injured, then Rodgers most likely will get injured too. I hope he doesn't. I would love for him to play the whole season healthy. I'm not going to bet all my money on the 40-year-old guy who's not Tom Brady. And last in that division, I have the Patriots. I think that new coach, new quarterback, not a whole lot of weapons to work with on offense or defense. Christian Gonzalez does come back healthy this year, so the defense actually is probably going to be solid like it always is. But I don't see the offense being good enough to win a whole bunch of games. They'll win about like 5-6 games, and they'll be towards the top of the draft again next year. After the AFC East, we have the AFC South. I think Houston is going to carry the momentum over from last year and win the division. I think C.J. Stroud avoids the sophomore slump and has a great second season. They've got weapons on that offense, and he's spectacular. I think they're going to be really good and win the division. I have Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence finishing second in the division, maybe competing for a wild card spot, but he's been unimpressive. Unimpressive. I mean, he was a number one overall pick. He was this generational talent, and he's just kind of been okay. I know his first year was really bad, and he was injured last year. So I'm running out of excuses for the guy. I hope he's really good, but I think they finished second. I think Indy and Anthony Richardson come in third in the division. I hope he's healthy this season, and we get to see a full season of what he can do in an NFL offense. I think he's going to be really talented. He's really special. His ability to run the ball and take hits, well, maybe not take hits, but his ability to run the ball is a threat. I just don't know if they have enough playmakers on that Indy offense outside of himself to be a threat in the division, but they could be really fun to watch. I have Tennessee finishing last. I know they signed a couple big guys in free agency. They got L'Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs last year on defense. If Will Levis is the guy, maybe they make a run at a wild card spot, but I don't think they're a real threat in the division. I think they finished fourth. In the AFC West, probably the least shocking of them all, the Chiefs win the division. If Patrick Mahomes is starting, they win the division. That's just how it's been for the last 6-7 years. I think he has a winning record. No, he has a winning record against every team in the division. I think the Raiders, he's only lost like once, two in the last 5 years. And Denver last year was the first loss in like 17 games. So the Chiefs are going to win the division in a shock to nobody. Second, I have the Chargers. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to be a great help for them. I think he's going to get the most out of Justin Fields that you can. Every place he's gone, he's coached Andrew Luck. He's coached Colin Kaepernick. He coached J.J. McCarthy to a national championship. He's proven to be able to get the best out of his quarterbacks. I think he will do that for Justin Herbert, and actually we'll see some growth in which we haven't in the last 3 years. I mean, he was fantastic his rookie season, but he hasn't gotten better. He's kind of just been the same guy. So I think Justin's going to be improved, and the Chargers probably grab a wild card spot. We'll see. I think Denver finishes second in the division. I would love to see Bo Nix be really good, and maybe he will in that Sean Payton offense. They have a couple weapons. Cortland Sutton's really good, and I think that running back they got out there is really good too. So I would love to see Bo Nix play really well. We'll see if that holds up. I think Sean Payton's a great coach, and if he's going to get him, he went and got Bo Nix. That's his guy. I will be really excited to see how they do in Denver. I don't think it's going to result in like any Super Bowl run or anything, but I think they're going to be better than they were last year. I think at this point in his career, Bo Nix is going to be better than Russell Wilson, so they will be improved. If they can get off to a better start than they did last year, maybe they fight for a wild card spot. We'll see. I do have the Raiders finishing last. I'm really happy they gave Antonio Pierce the job out there. I hope he can inspire them and get them to win some games. It felt like last year he was really inspirational and kind of like got them going and in some games that they wouldn't have been otherwise. So they don't have a quarterback. I don't think Gardner Minshew's the guy. He's a great like placeholder. They need a weapon at quarterback, but I think Antonio Pierce is going to get a lot out of them, hopefully, and have a great coaching career. So I hope he does well in his first year. My wild cards out of the AFC are Miami picks up the first wild card spot. I think they're going to be really good again this year. That offense has too many weapons for them not to be really good. I have Cincinnati picking up the second wild card spot. Like I said, I'm predicting that Jamar Chase plays and that Joe Burrow stays healthy, but I have them grabbing the second wild card spot. And the Chargers I have sneaking in that last wild card spot. in Jim Harbaugh's first year. It could be, honestly, it could be between the Chargers and Pittsburgh. That's what I was kind of going back and forth on. But I have the Chargers going ahead and going. I think Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers roster is just better than what they have going on in Pittsburgh right now. So that's why I gave it to them. My MVP, I'm going to give it to Mahomes this year. He's been talking about wanting to have more fun, and I think that just means throwing the ball more downfield because like he's been playing more in his conservative role because they didn't have the weapons, and now they've got weapons at receiver. They got Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. Look like they're going to be awesome. I know Hollywood's injured right now, but he should come back, and I think he's going to play a big role. Rice probably doesn't get suspended this year. That'll probably be a next year issue. And if he can improve on his strong rookie season, they've got weapons on offense. Isaiah Pacheco at running back. Obviously, Kelsey coming back at tight end is going to be a hard offense to stop. And Mahomes is the best player in the NFL. So I have them. I have Mahomes throwing the ball around, and maybe he touches 5,050 again. I don't know. But I think that's the season he's aiming for. He wants to throw the ball down the field and show off his talents. Which he hasn't been able to do the last couple years. Still winning Super Bowls, but I mean, he wants to have fun doing it. The only other award I'm going to talk about is Rookie of the Year because I think it's going to be Caleb. I think the Bears are going to have a really strong offense. Rome and Keenan Allen and Cole Kmet are a great trio. DJ Moore, I should have listed him first. He's incredible. I think there's like 4 receivers or 5 receivers in NFL history who have as many receiving yards through their first 5 seasons as DJ Moore. So I think the Bears are going to be super strong on offense as long as we can keep a running game to keep the defense guessing. I think Caleb wins the Rookie of the Year. My Super Bowl prediction, I have Green Bay and Kansas City. It's really hard as a Bears fan to want to pick Green Bay to go to the Super Bowl. But looking at the teams, if they maintain their momentum, I really think they have they have the youngest roster in the NFL. It looks like they have a great young quarterback. They have a great head coach. If it all comes together the way it looks like it did at the end of the year last year, I think they have the strongest chance to go to the Super Bowl. My pick in the championship game to oppose them would be Chicago. I think a Green Bay-Chicago NFC championship game would be awesome, and I think Green Bay might edge us out in that, but we'll see. But I have Green Bay in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. I just don't think there's any team in the AFC that can beat the Chiefs in a winner-take-all game. Once they get in the playoffs, they just hit a different level that other people don't have. Patrick Mahomes is that guy, and I genuinely think they go back and win a Super Bowl, and I do have the Chiefs winning it. I have them three-peating. It'll be their hardest test yet, not because this isn't as strong of a team as they've had the last couple of years. Losing L'Jarius Sneed is huge. They still have another great corner. They still have Chris Jones and Karlaftis, but Bolton, I think, at linebacker too. But I think this will be the hardest chance yet. Obviously, it's hard for any team to three-peat, but I just mean from a roster construction, it not being as strong as a team as it was the last couple of years. Maybe stronger at receiver, weaker in other spots, but I have the Kansas City Chiefs going back and winning the Super Bowl this year. So that is my season prediction for the Flex and Nerd podcast. I would love for you guys to stick around. Hopefully we can do more of these. Like, comment, subscribe if you are interested. We'd love to have you. Hopefully to be more consistent, at least on a weekly basis on this channel. I would love to have Corey upload some videos here as well. So we're thankful to have you back. This is the start of a new journey. We're going to be we're same guys, but we're going to hopefully continue on this journey again. So hopefully we'll see you guys down the road, and we'll catch you guys soon. Later.